Here's a quote just for this episode. Those you cannot teach to fly, teach to fall faster. Friedrich Nietzsche. This is episode 21 of the Culture Matters podcast, New Year's Eve, Lollapalooza 2025. This episode is called The Canon. Every year on New Year's Eve, we host what we call the New Year's Eve Lollapalooza. It's a full day of previous guests of the Culture Matters podcast coming together to share their word for the coming year, to reflect on the year or years prior, whether they had or did not have a word, so that they can anchor themselves into the next day, hour, minute, second, choice, so on. To be invited to the New Year's Eve Lollapalooza on the Culture Matters podcast, you have to have been on the show at least one time before. Some guests have been on the show a dozen times or more. So this is a community of individuals of all walks of life, all age demographics, socioeconomic backgrounds, educations, positions inside and outside of organization, community, at every level. Successful people in so many contexts. It's a community that's been built over time. Each participant is asked one simple question. What is your word you are choosing to anchor the year ahead? It's not a resolution. It's not a goal. It's a word. Words matter because they orient attention. We've had McGilchrist on the show to explain and elucidate and teach what attention and perception means. Dr. Peterson has been an influence in the show. If you haven't listened to the Beyond Order series, the 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 role that attention plays in life, in orienting ourselves towards a goal and succeeding in that endeavor. So words matter because they orient attention, they shape behavior, and when spoken publicly, they create accountability, not through pressure, but through memory. Other people were there. They saw what we said. They experienced our experience of ourself that we shared verbally in the crowd. This episode exists to do one thing only, to name each participant and record the word that they chose. I will not do commentary on this episode or elaboration or interpretation beyond this opening. This is the idea of the canon is a record. It's a roll call. Right? It's the canon. We can reference it. We can reference it later. In the next episode, I'm going to return and actually do research and look into the definitions and etymologies of each word and attempt to learn from the words and develop and grow and anchor myself from this library of information, of energy, of attention and intentions. So I'll return on part two and unpack their meanings, their origins, and where I already see our guests living out these words. But today I'm going to simply name the words. If you're interested in listening to the episodes, well, there's 20 episodes of well, there were 17 back-to-back episodes on New Year's Eve 2025 and three follow-up episodes and recapping the day. So I challenge you to go listen to the series. It'll be very enriching. I'm going to move in chronological order from we started at 5 a.m. and we ended just before 10 p.m. Eastern, 2025 New Year's Eve. So let's begin. Jay Duran, love. Michael Dean Calhoun, different. Judd Burden, integration. Reagan Weiss, obedience. Andrew Berman, build. Robert Freeafer, innovate. Gray Wilson, partnership. Chase Gallagher, simplify. Bill Mervin, integration. Brian McNally, alignment. Matt McHale, stewardship. Bill Ryman, faith. Rob Wishnick, obsession. Stephen Ronald, unbound. Jim Sabelico, alignment. Michael Modica, replaceable. Alan Whitman, intentionality. Maria Quattrone, fearless. Chris Vester, or Christopher Vester, bold. Ken Jordan, transformation. Alex Rawdon, execution. Jeff Silva, or Jeffrey Silva, consistency. Dimitri Stakias, love. Vinny Candelore Jr., awake. Kayvon K., alignment. Jake Penny, perseverance. Jeff Winnick, improvement. Steve Wilmer, focus. Peter Fournier, efficiency. Carl Eppolito, accountability. Christopher Ty, growth. Ruth Lee, amity. Morgan Denicola, lead. David Levine, resonance. John Duffin, expeditious. Brett Grossman, self-actualization. Eduardo Perez Jr., Eddie. Atonement, John New. Scale, Darwin Roman. Value, Yuri Mitchell. Consistency, Armand Ponochet. Stability, Armand Bonocci. I think he would want me to say it that way. Uh, Stability, Aaron Scott Young. Momentum, Michelle Skina. Mastery, Nathan Nottingham. Preparedness, Nick Lampone. Reputation, Jana Silverman. Surrender, Hector Sanchez. Momentum, Dr. David Yerkes. Faith, Glenn Campbell. Listen, Tom Bove. Invest, Benny Fisher. Stewardship, Fabi Nagami. Certainty, Anthony Mararchi. Enriching, Bradley Lee. Brad Lee. Bradley. Choice, choices, Joseph or Joe Iredell. Dominate, Michael Alasso. Event, Joe or Joseph Silva Jr. Perspective, Jonathan Haddad. Strength, Mark Perkins. Go, Glenn Yopes. Conviction. This is the Culture Matters podcast, New Year's Eve episode 21 of our New Year's Eve Lollapalooza 2025 series, part one of two, the canon. Every participant's word for the New Year's Eve 2025 Lollapalooza, their word for the year of 2026 to orient their aim and anchor themselves into a better future, a more productive, constructive future. On part two, I'm going to learn and research and uncover the meaning of each of these words that have been shared and think through them. And so join me for that exploration on part two. Please share this with someone who has a word or you think would benefit from having a word of the coming year. Leave us a review on the Culture Matters podcast, and we will see you next time.